Steamboat started bucking here in the Cheyenne Frontier Days arena when he first went into the rodeo. They thought they'd make a ranch horse out of him, but he liked to buck too much. So they brought him here to Cheyenne and they started bucking him, and he was here for probably 10 years, off and on, just bucking. That's what he did. He considered that his job. When he was just a young colt, they took him down and they were going to castrate him. And when they did, they bonked his nose basically on the ground, and they broke a bone in his nose, and that caused him, whenever he'd breathe heavy, it caused him to have this really heavy whistling sound. It sounded like a steamboat. He was handled mostly by C.B. Irwin, Charlie Irwin, and Charlie Irwin had really strong ties to the Cheyenne Frontier Days. And then later, he and his whole family had the Irwin Brothers Wild West show, and they traveled all over the country, but Cheyenne was home, and they would have these Wild West shows. The star of the show was Steamboat. They took him to Pendleton, they took him to Calgary, they took him to Madison Square Garden, and they brought him back here every time. This is where he came back to, was Cheyenne, and he would buck at Cheyenne Frontier Days. Some of the greatest cowboys of the earliest 20th century climbed on Steamboat. Not very many rode him, although some did. Later years, of course, we have our Wyoming bucking horse on the license plate, and the artist who drew the license plate was Alan True, and he always said that it was no particular rider, but everyone agrees that the horse was Steamboat. The arena wasn't like